Are you wanting to build your self-esteem? Well, hopefully, if you're listening to this, because today I'm going to talk about the impact of looking after your brain health in order to boost your self-esteem. And if you stay until the end, I've got an extra point for you that I want to share with you as well. Now, just to be clear, I'm not a brain health professional or psychiatrist or anything like that, of course. I'm just sharing my own experience with when I've learned to look after my brain health, what I've personally found. As with all my podcast episodes, I just share my own experience. So I took a course, a program a couple of years, well, a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, on brain health by Dr. Amen, who's an expert on looking after your brain. And actually, we hear all these things like mindset, which is great. Obviously, that's the name of my podcast. And yeah, it's great to have a good attitude and all these positive things. The thing I learned from that, though, is if you're not looking after your brain, your psychology, which feeds your mindset, is not going to be as effective, and therefore is going to impact on your mood towards the world and actually how you feel about yourself. And that's what I really learned. Now, I've also done things like detoxes. I'm on one right now, where you take away loads of foods and drinks, basically, and you have just minimized to the natural stuff to allow your body to get rid of things. And I've noticed how it increases my energy. And also I've noticed that there's little things that can impact me. Like I eat a certain food and then suddenly I get into a certain mood. I feel a bit more anxious or feel down or just worried about, not feeling so good about life. And the thing is, like, I heard this story once, and there's a guy and he was married, and they had a pretty good relationship. And then he started working in a factory. And he found that actually there were these fumes whilst he was working. Well, he then, when he started working there, had started changing his personality, got really moody, and they started arguing. They're on the verge of a divorce. And then they decided to go and check his brain health out. And actually, it turned out that the place he started working in had fumes that were affecting his brain health, therefore affecting his mood and how he felt. And then they adjusted like where he worked and changed everything like that. And then his personality changed back. Crazy how like little things can impact us and we don't even realize. Now I'm going to be talking more about like some of the food side to actually how it can impact your brain, and therefore your moods and emotions and how you feel about yourself today. But ask yourself this, like, does it like frustrate you sometimes that suddenly you're not feeling like you're able to function your best and it knocks you confident, all those things? Well, I've been guilty of that as well. And that's why I pay particular attention to, my nutrition and my diet and just like little things, even mentally, that impact me as well. Because mentally, exposing yourself to negative information is also going to impact your brain and therefore how you feel as well. So let's go for a few practical points you consider that I've learned. So start paying attention when you get like a mood change and actually notice, did I eat something recently? Did something impact me? I know for me, like when I have too much coffee, I'm like anxious. I'm like, and that's impacting me. The second one is start looking at start looking at your sensitivities. Are there certain foods that really impact you and make you sensitive? Or are there certain things you see as well? Like on TV or whatever, that really impact you? Maybe it's time to stay away from some of those things. And then the third one is, and you might need to, there's tests and things you can do for this. Start paying attention to the things you might be lacking in. Now, a huge known fact, and they've done studies on this, is that a lack of vitamin D can impact your mood, make you feel more down and not so good. And that can be quite common in places like the UK, where I live, where we don't always have the most amount of sun, which gives you a good level of vitamin D. And I've heard stories of people moving from countries when it's a lot of sun, and then they were in this good positive state, and then suddenly they've come to like maybe somewhere like the UK. It is sunny sometimes in the UK, but like they moved to like a UK winter, and then suddenly their mood had significantly changed, and they didn't feel good about themselves and things because they had lost that vitamin D and they weren't getting it in their foods, and you can get it in foods. You just got to look for it. So start looking, or maybe pay more attention to what you might be lacking. Now, for that, you might just need to do a bit more research into actually what are the right foods. And obviously, the best thing to do is actually get a nutritionist, hire a nutritionist. You might think, oh, that's going to cost you money. It's probably going to cost you more money from your lack of output or not meeting your potential, maybe even health bills down the road. So that's always the way I think of it. My bonus point for you as well is look at, I mentioned I did Dr. Amon's course. Look at Amon's clinics because they have a lot of great information about your brain health. And it really helped me to start identify the type of brain I was. And then you can do a test on there. I've had experts on the podcast before. I just wanted to talk about it today. It can help you identify the type of brain you've got, maybe what are some of the supports or some of your behaviors you've got. Just have a little bit of research and look at the information they got there. I'm not like affiliated or sponsored with them at all, which is what I would recommend. Really, really good for insights on your brain. And if you've got a more healthier functioning brain, it's going to impact your psychology in a more positive way and therefore your mindset, and therefore you're going to feel better about yourself as well. Whilst if you're just trying to fight like through willpower, like I'm going to do this, and you're not feeding your brain with the right things, then it's always going to be a bit more of a battle. So like if you're eating processed foods or processed fats and all that kind of thing all the time, that's obviously not going to be healthy for your brain. If you're watching stuff that's destroying your brain, like negative media or whatever, that's going to impact your brain as well. So start being more conscious about your brain, and that's what I'd recommend, because it's going to give you it's going to improve your mood. And I found that, and therefore how you feel about yourself when you start looking after it more. So I appreciate you for being here. You're improving other people's lives by being the best you. And remember, you are in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.